Hello, folks. How are we doing? This is Conroy Talks. It's a football catch-up show today. I'm joined by the usual suspects. We've got Callum Sanderson here from Team Coppish. How you doing, Callum? You good, mate?
All good, brother. How you doing?
Good, mate. Good, mate. It's one of them. It's Friday. Happy with that.
Yeah.
And we've got Jersey. Yeah, exactly. We've got Jersey Boy at the bottom. How you doing, mate? You good?
I'm doing good, and I'm here on purpose just to wind you up because of Scotland.
Oh well.
Oh God!
You can try your best.
No, yeah, I'm gonna try and wind. I'm not gonna try and wind you up, but you know, after that voice memos that night.
No, you're fine, mate. I'm
joking, mate. You're allowed to say.
No, I forgot about that. See, Callum was going to say, see in the WhatsApp group, see when Scotland drew England, I genuinely.
You were screaming. You were screaming, going, "Oh,
yeah, mate, I know. But see, the thing is, to use, I was screaming, but it was very loud where I was. And
yeah.
I regret nothing because, to be honest, mate, I don't
even think when
Grealish had the ball at the 92nd minute, and this is honestly being Scottish. I was like, he's going to score from 30 yards here.
Yeah.
And then when you're watching the game again, like he's never scoring, but that's Scotland for you. So honestly, guys, it's
mate,
Tuesday.
To be honest, mate, you know, I'm really joking. You have to, because to be honest, England should have lost.
Yeah.
Usual Southgate is weird tactics.
Yeah,
you should have won.
We'll get into that later. But as I say, today I thought there's been a lot of Euros videos. It's been great, but I thought today there's actually been a few things that have happened that are actually, if you're doing transfer shows like your man Callum here with Coppish, it's quite an interesting day, to be honest. There's actually been quite a few Liverpool rumours, but I'm not going into that. But Wilson, Benfica, there's quite a few interesting ones that have came out. So check out Coppish's daily video on that, because Callum done that earlier because I watched that before the show.
Bless you, bro.
He's got to check that out. So the first one, guys, I think we just need to hit it straight on, because I've got to be honest, a bit like yourselves. I mean, Jersey Boy said, if Fabrizio's not announced it, it's not happened. And that's a fair shout, but I've seen a lot of sources today. And I
never said that.
No, but let's be honest, he's the man, isn't he? He's the one.
No, yeah, I only trust Fab.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, someone said, after the Sancho gets finalised, it'll be like just it's like the Tony Stark at the end of Avengers. It's time to rest. You can rest now, Fabrizio, because he's done it for that long. Fair play. But the big question, guys, we have to talk about it. Grealish. It looks like it's happening, guys. I've seen the accounts that I follow that if they announce it and it's by this certain these usual suspects, I usually think it's 90, unless something like, you know, the who was the player we wanted a couple of years ago, Callum, that you love for Liverpool? Who's the player? Fekir. See, like that, it's like at the stage where it's even unless something miraculous happens, it looks like it's going to go through. I think Villa will accept 100 million. So it's just to get Callum, I'll go with you first. What's your thoughts on that? And what do you think the repercussions will be if they get Grealish?
So my initial thoughts are, damn. Everyone knows how much of a Grealish fan I am. I'm a massive Grealish fan. And I know he's going off topic, but I'd love him at Liverpool. I was speaking to Matt earlier when the news started coming out, and I said I would sacrifice getting another attacking player if we bought Grealish in a centre midfielder this season. I genuinely would, because he can cover left side, he can play the 10, and he can also play as an 8 as well. So he covers you in 3 positions, and he fills a homegrown quota, and he's a phenomenal footballer. Him going to Man City shows 2 things. One, it shows Manchester City are very serious about winning the Champions League and having utter complete domination. 2, they want to improve their brand as a club. And 3, there's no way of stopping them.
No, that's the third one. No, don't happen.
There's no way of stopping them. I mean, in one of my football WhatsApp groups, guys I play football with, one of them was like, oh, that means Mahrez or Sterling's going. And I was like, it doesn't. It actually doesn't, because if you look at their squad, I think the only person that would leave would be Jesus. And I'll explain why. I think if you get Grealish, you can play Grealish or Ferran Torres from the left, Mahrez or Foden from the right, Kane or Sterling through the middle, and then in midfield you've got Gundogan, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, and I think they'll still get a left back. I think they'll get Kane, Grealish, and a left back. Remember, Conrad, I said this from months ago, especially Kane. 100%. I said this. I didn't expect Grealish. I knew Kane would go there, but I was almost 100% certain Kane was going to go there, and they still obviously need a left back. I think they'll get a left back as well this summer.
I think, Callum, that's great. Just come to a second, Jersey. See, the thing is, see if they're going to sell anybody, I think it's only going to be one wing forward. So say they do, Cal, like a Mahrez or Sterling, I think it's only going to be one of them. I heard that report earlier. I think the only one they might sell that's like realistic, the Sterling one's not realistic because Sterling's getting more money at City than Harry Kane's on at Tottenham.
Yeah, and he's homegrown.
So, exactly. So if he goes to Spurs are actually going to have to pay, I think, either the same wage as Kane or more. That's not going to happen. I think Mahrez is probably the only realistic one because he might go to Madrid or something like that because that's he always likes, I think, to move on. I think he spoke about that. I'm not saying he's egotistical, but I think he would like that move. But I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen. I don't think City have to sell it. By no means have to sell. I'd say Mahrez is maybe the only one just because they bought Torres in. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not Ferran Torres' biggest fan. I actually think he scores a hat-trick now and again, but I don't think he's the most consistent player. But what I would say, great shouts, Callum, and I think, mate, Grealish is probably, I understand why City would pay 100 million for Grealish because Grealish is one of them that they could get 6-7 years out of Grealish, and he's phenomenal. And we'll get into that maybe later. I'll get Jerseys. What's your feelings on Grealish first, Jersey? What's your feelings on City getting him and the repercussions?
Obviously, I haven't seen any real sources like that I trust anything about it. Don Robbie released a video today with Fab talking, and I think he said that he can see Grealish going, but it all depends on, I think, any big transfer will not happen till after Euros, 100%. For me, I think they probably might go for Grealish. The thing is, with Kane, I think Daniel Levy is just going to keep him hostage and, price it out. Like 100 million plus, I think 100 million plus Laporte, Spurs should go for it because they need a defender. And like they can spend 100 million on getting a striker. So, but Levy, I think if Kane wants to go, he has to put a transfer request in, and he has no choice but to sell him. But for Grealish, I think Grealish really wants to stay at Villa. But if he goes to City, he'll play Champions League football and that kind of stuff. The problem is they're getting a attacking midfielder or a wide four when they've got loads. For me, they need a striker. So for me, I think what they need is possibly another CDM because Fernandinho is getting old. A left back because Benjamin Mendy, Zinchenko are arse. Right backs are covered for. Centre backs are covered for. It's basically, wide forwards. I don't think is what they need to go for. But I've heard Bernardo Silva probably is maybe going to Atleti. Maybe go to Atletico Madrid. So I think we might see Bernardo Silva going one way and maybe Grealish comes in. I don't know, but I think if they do get him, it's going to be very dangerous. But I don't see him getting Kane and Grealish because
it's a good shout, Jersey. But I'll let you go in a second. I was just going to say on to that. See, like a Bernardo Silva, right now. That's why I think City are paying 100 million for Grealish because he's not just a wing forward. He's actually, I don't like Bernardo Silva as a person, but as a player, he's actually very intelligent because he can play wing forward. He's actually not very fast. He's okay, but he's not rapid. He's just technically good with the ball. He can play right wing. He can play centre mid. Now, I think a Grealish, you can play him even more. You can play him as a 10. You can play him as centre mid. You can play him wing forward. The only thing I'd say with Grealish is when I've watched Bernardo Silva, I feel like Bernardo Silva takes on instructions very well. Like you can just tell his football IQ is very good.
Yeah.
Whereas Grealish he's very smart. I'm not saying that at all, but he is very much like the freedom player, if you know what I mean. He likes to express himself. So that will be interesting to see how City, and especially Guardiola, I feel like you mentioned Klopp. Klopp's quite good at making players still have that, but still fit into the system. So it'll be very interesting to see him because I know he had issues with Sané, didn't he, as well, Guardiola. That might have been to do injury, but it'll be interesting to see. And I actually agree with Callum. I think they will sign Kane. I think they're going to go out and spend 300 million this summer. But if that happens, guys, I feel like, well, let's just take a year off.
Yeah. So, like, Conor, I'll be real with you guys. So, Jersey, but I see where you're coming from. But let's say, for example, they don't get Kane. Lautaro Martinez is a player Guardiola's probably going for. Like, and he'll get a beat out of like
80 million, I think he's 80 million.
Yeah, so he's cheaper than Kane, he's younger than Kane. Now, granted, he might not have the same impact or immediate impact as Harry Kane would in that City team, but over the next couple of years, he may give you more potentially, and he's slightly cheaper, and he's more in the mold of an Aguero, but I think he does more running than Aguero did. Here's the thing. I get what you're saying about Fernandinho and Rodri, or more so Fernandinho being old, but I think Fernandinho gives you another year. So again, not even trying to sound like I know City's ins and outs, but they get a left back this summer, and you still got Zinchenko. So they got two players for each position in the back five if they sign the left back.
Cancelo can play. He's actually played pretty well at left back as well.
He can play left back as well, and obviously he plays right back alongside Walker. Fernandinho and Rodri is their number 6. They usually go 4-3-3. So at the moment it'll be Bernardo Silva and Gundogan on one side, and then you could argue it would be De Bruyne and someone else. Any one of those players could cover De Bruyne if De Bruyne's out. Then up top, as we said, you've got Ferran Torres and Grealish, you've got Sterling and Kane, and then you've got Mahrez and Foden. I don't think they'll sell anyone, and I don't think they need to. And I think next summer Fernandinho will go and they'll bring in a top centre defensive midfielder. Man City's transfer, like, they just can do what they want pretty much. No one can really compete. And if they do that this summer and then they go and get a top class defensive midfielder next season, again, I don't know where you stop them.
And Jesus probably go this summer. Jesus is probably the one to go. I think
Jesus will go.
Jesus, he's one, I think.
And again,
what did say, Jersey?
Oh, sorry, Jersey.
Sorry, Cal.
I was just going to say, if I was Man City, I would sign Locatelli. That guy looks absolute class, Locatelli.
He's a Euro signing though. I call it a James Rodriguez special. James Rodriguez is a good career. Don't get me wrong, but not all. But it always seems to be overrated. I'm not saying he is overrated, but it's like it's not saying it's easy, but to perform in a tournament, to perform in a league season. I think on the DM thing as well, I think Rodri, and I'm not his biggest fan, he's still a good player. I think he's improved a lot this season as well for City. He's came into it. So you're maybe right, Calum, in the sense of Fernandinho one more year, Rodri will probably play most of the games, and then he'll maybe feel confident just to take that over. Because I'll be honest, mate, I feel like they've still won the league and at a canter in the sense is we've not competed and other teams will compete next season. But I actually think Rodri has a good season, so I can't see them spending 70 million on our DM this summer.
Yeah, don't need
to. Fair shout. Sorry, Jez, what are you going to say on that, mate?
No, what I was just going to say was, I finished to get CDM now, but the thing is, they need to. Their priority should not be a wide forward; it should be a striker. And for me, I think they will try and go for Kane, but I wouldn't get Kane, and the reason is, if I was a City fan, because he's going to get injured. And Fab said, I think Fabrizio said as well, they won't get both. So I see if they can't get Kane, they can get Andre Silva from Frankfurt. They can go for Haaland next season.
Oh.
I think Haaland is not leaving at all this summer because
Jersey,
they're going to ask 160 mil, and next year it'll go 80, 90. So for me, if I was City, I would go again. I would probably get another striker that can replace Jesus because I think Jesus is more of a winger.
I could see it happening.
Andre Silva, Isaac, one of them, and then next summer go for Haaland.
Do you think things could happen or something like that? Do you think I could see City? Do you think no? I've always thought City would be smarter instead of buying an Isaac to buy someone more proven. But
the thing with City is Jersey boy. Again, I get where you're coming from. With City, they don't need to prioritize. Like it's not like Liverpool, who we had to prioritize a centre back in January, for example. City need a player. They go and get. Remember, last summer they needed a centre back, right? They went and bought 2. They didn't need 2 centre backs, but they just said we're going into the season instead of 3 like we did last season. We're going in with 5. That's what City do. So again, Jersey boy, if this was any other team, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm fully with you. I just think City are going to do a madness. Like, yes, them losing the Champions League final was a bit of fun for banter because obviously Guardiola hasn't won it without Messi, but potentially it's the worst thing that could happen to the rest of the league as well because it's going to make them even hungrier to go and win that Champions League, and they know they needed to add quality players to do that. I think if Jesus had fulfilled his role in being the person to take over from Aguero, I think they'd have maybe gone in for like an Andre Silva and Ings. I won't say an unglamorous signing as such. They want the best quality centre forward they can get their hands on, and at the moment that is Kane. The reason I don't think they'll get Haaland is because apparently Mino Raiola and Guardiola absolutely hate each other, and apparently they won't do any sort of work together. So I think that's where
Raiola has that effect on a lot of people, though. To be
precisely,
fair, that could be something that stops Haaland, unless Haaland starts to bin off.
Yeah, but it's interesting. So overall, just to finalise this, and I'll look at the comments now. So Jerseys just thinks it'll just be Kane or one of them, not both. I think it will be both, and Cal thinks it'll be both. But it'll be interesting to kind of thumbnail this, and we'll look back at it. Because
I think it's going to be Grealish
and a striker
and another 9,
but not Kane. Yeah, I think it will be Grealish and Kane. But listen, it'd be going to be interesting, guys. It's been quite a fun day when you talk about we've been in the middle of the Euros and a lot's happened today. I'll just get through a few of the comments quickly and get back to the debate, guys. Shout out to Ali's. How you doing, mate? Big up to yourself, Ryan. Yes, how you doing, mate? Ryan. Good, Ryan. Love it, mate. And Mitchell with a comment here, sitting here number 9, so they can plan on spending 100 million on Grealish and 60 million on a striker. I don't know. They'll be back in arbitration. Yeah, well, I think we've not got enough time to talk about FFP today, mate. But yeah, and after the last time, all the drama, but the case last year, and nothing, stuff came of it, but not the result I think football wanted. It's interesting. I know I have heard some journalists say that there is not a myth, but there's a rumour going that FFP is going to be less, and there's not actually confirmed yet. But we'll get. I think I need to do a bit more research before we talk about that. But good commenting, mate. Man like Shawnee, how you doing, mate? Shawnee's always sending me on Instagram. He's always sending me. I know Liverpool news because of him before anyone else. Before I see Twitter, he's always passing on. So cheers, mate.
Guys, everyone watching, smash the like as well, people. Yeah. Smash the like.
Do you want to quickly get some news quickly before we continue? A good thing is Kanate is confirmed not to go to the Olympics. The Olympic squad's out and he's not in it. Salah won't go. That's good as well. And also, have you guys heard the news about Fekir? The fact that he didn't actually have a knee injury.
Yeah, but we knew this though. It was a case of it was either Fekir or Alisson, and.
But why did the club fake that he fucking was injured?
Apparently, the excuse the club was giving officially is that they're not happy with how the procedure of the ACL repair was done. But in actual fact, I think what happened is Fekir's people had decided on the deal, had a handshake agreement, and then when it came to fully negotiating out the rest of the deal, I think they tried to get a bit cheeky with stuff. The club walked away.
I see.
Yeah. But it was always going to be between Alisson and Fekir that summer. We were never going to buy both.
I know you love him, Cal, but we made the right call because, I mean, fair enough to Alisson.
Yeah, we had to buy Alisson.
Fekir doesn't score a header against West Brom in the last, to get his Champions League. You know what I mean? That's still a bit mental, mate. Like, I still think I was dreaming when I went in that show with you and Alisson scored. That doesn't quite go in my head right that happened.
I remember the WhatsApp group we've got. I remember just everyone's reaction when that happened. Like, there was just loads of voice notes, all of us just screaming.
Did that happen though? Like, I can't get. Did that happen, Cal? Because it's one of them.
The craziest ending to a game I've seen.
Do you know how you write scripts? You would write a movie script and someone would say, that's a load of rubbish. That's too far-fetched. That actually happened. Unbelievable. So just shout out a few more comments, guys, and get back to the agenda. So, Marky, how you doing, mate? I think City will walk away from Harry Kane's deal. Levy will price out the move. Potentially, but I think what me and Callum said, I feel like, see if Aguero was a little bit younger or something like that, or Jesus had been brilliant, but not. He's been good, Jesus. I like Jesus. I know Matt likes him as well, but I just don't think he's been the Aguero replacement. I think you're right, mate. I think they've took this summer, they're going to get that killer, or if not a killer, it's going to be a Martinez. It's going to be someone of that ilk. So be very interesting. I like this comment. Shout out, mate, to Farley. That's great. We are good, mate. I think you summed up there, bud. Demo Dre, yes, sir. The dream team. How you doing, Demo? Brilliant, mate. As I said, Demo, I don't know if you do psychic things, but Demo's done it twice this year because they've got Champions League, and he said Nat Phillips would be amazing. So I think he's 2 for 2. Mitchell, if they sign Grealish, they'll sell Bernardo Silva. I think we said, that's a good shout, mate. I think that could realistically happen. Yeah. Jersey said Atletico's probably a good move, so it'll be interesting. You back with us, Jersey? All good, mate? No, that's good. Just a few more comments. Anyway, guys, I'll go through them more later. Thanks for the comments, folks, and thanks for watching. It's always much appreciated. And thanks to both my guests. Always, I really appreciate it. No, always. So, Callum, I don't want to do this too much because we've got a certain massive Friday night show happening tonight with Coppish. So if you're watching this, and of course you'll be watching it tonight if you're watching this, because I'm only here because of Coppish, right?
No. Your hair, Conroy, because you're brilliant at what you do, bro. We were just fortunate that you came on our show to show everyone. But you're brilliant, bro.
I appreciate that, mate. But genuinely, the call-in, if he's listening, he's want to get a chance to the best call-in in YouTube, right? You have to go to Coppish tonight, Coppish Friday nights. But in general, this will be a topic. So I'm not lying. We can't even go on about this too much because I know a certain Mr. Drift won't be too happy because I think he's had a few days for it to generate. So as I was saying to Callum before the stream, I was walking, I was driving from my work to another area, and I heard that it looks likely that Benitez will be confirmed this weekend for Everton. Now, if these sources are saying it, Callum, as I said before, it's going to be something miraculous or like negotiations stop, but he lives in Liverpool. The deal looks like it's nearly over the line. He's managed Chelsea before, so he's not afraid to go against fans who don't like him. And people forget, he won the Europa League with Chelsea, and half the fans, probably 80%, didn't like him. I don't really think that phases him, mate, to be honest. But what's your thoughts on that?
So I look at it two ways. As a Liverpool fan, I'm gutted to see it happen because I love Benitez. Benitez, apart from Klopp, is my favourite Liverpool manager. And I love Gerard Houllier as well. Roy Evans, I was a little bit too young to really appreciate Roy Evans. Hodgson, obviously, we don't get on. But and Kenny's obviously a legend, but his second stint for us wasn't the most successful. Benitez made me believe as a Liverpool fan we could go in against anyone and beat them when he was there, especially from sort of 2005 up until I'd say about 2009. That period there, I felt as though any team we played against, we would beat and we could beat. What scares me about Benitez going to Everton is we've seen Benitez at Newcastle and we've seen him at Liverpool under relatively poor ownership that doesn't really back him financially, and he was able to overachieve with both of those clubs. As poor as Everton have been, not only on the pitch but in recruitment as well, Benitez going there with the sort of financial backing that Everton have could be an absolute madness potentially. Now, let's not think that Everton aren't trying to think about this smartly. Like, Benitez goes there, for a start, he shores up that defense. He anywhere he goes, he shores up a defense. That's the first thing he does. Don't expect Everton to be playing brilliant, expansive football the first season. That's not going to happen. He's going there to set a blueprint and to set instructions and see who's on board, who's not on board. The problem comes in the transfer market. Benitez is a loved and well-known figure. Plus, he knows how to spot a gem before other people do. With Everton's financial backing and Benitez's eye for a good player, he could potentially make Everton into a legitimate top six threat. I don't think Champions League they can because City, Chelsea, and Man United will always outspend. And then I think us, Leicester are better teams. Tottenham as well usually are. And then Arsenal, they have their ups and downs. But I think Benitez could legitimately turn them into a top six contender.
Interesting, very interesting. I feel like you made some great points there, Cal, and I can't disagree with any of them, to be honest, mate. The only thing I would say is you talk about that, he'll make the defence solid first, and it'll be interesting to see if he gets that. Well, I think he knows the fans aren't going to be on side, so with that mentality going into it, he's probably going to be ready for the turmoil to start, and he'll just focus on that. But I completely agree, mate, when it comes down to tactics and that, and you talk about a manager who can change for different games. So it kind of, we mentioned Moyes. You know, when Moyes was at Everton, did have a good record at home. He made it difficult. He made teams fear going there. I agree, mate. I feel like that could be the same with Benitez. And as I say, when he was at Newcastle, he wanted to get back. Quite negative football at times, but you can maybe use the players he had at that it's never going to be expansive, but there was a style at Liverpool when he had a bit. He was backed with Liverpool. So I agree, mate. What's your thoughts on Benitez jersey and possibly it looks likely that he's going to go to Everton?
Obviously, I'm not that happy about it, but I'm happy about it in a way because his family's in Merseyside, so it makes no sense to go somewhere else. Obviously, I'm kind of angry about it just in terms of the Everton fans putting disgusting banners up about, about him and stuff. But, Carlo Ancelotti left them. That's why Everton are such a small club, Won fuck all since 1995, and they'll continue to win fuck all. So,
see, Jersey does this. Jersey is like so calm, right? And he just adds them in. It's like people don't understand why Jersey. He's not like that before it. He's calm, he's monotone, and he just goes. And that's why I love it, mate. Honestly,
for me, I think Benitez will make Everton better than they were, but. I think he's going there for one reason only. It's hashtag Operation Burn Everton. He's going to get them relegated to League One.
I think it's just
convenient every to be player honest. He's going to play 5 in attack and 1 in defence, and they're going to lose every single game. He's going to destroy everything for us from the inside. That's the plan.
I'd be interested to see how Everton. I'd like to speak to an Everton fan who's not in a rude way, but level-headed and looks at all aspects of this deal, because I'm trying to think of it from a Liverpool point of view. Like, let's say, for example, Moyes had won the Champions League at Everton, and then we needed a manager, and Moyes was available. Would we want him, or would we kind of put that to a side? Because I mean, we can be quite flippant as a fan base. Because I mean, even when we signed Balotelli a year before we signed Balotelli, people like, shout out Marquez, my guy.
I could not miss that one.
Marquez's a legend. But like a year before we signed Balotelli, the fan base were like, we'd never want to play like that at the club, this, that, and the other. When we signed him, the fans went crazy. So it's like, I don't know how we'd be as a fan base. And Everton, I mean, if I'm an Everton fan, I'll be real with you, not won anything since 1995, you kind of get what you're given. And if you're given Benitez, you better smile about it, in my opinion, because who out there has got the accolades he's got, and who out there can kind of actually help you progress as a club with the acumen he's got? I don't think there is anyone available.
See, the only one, Cal, right? This is what I find the situation weird, is Carlo Ancelotti is honestly one of the best coaches ever. Like, do not sleep on, doesn't matter, do not sleep on Carlo Ancelotti. Genius of a manager.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think, right, if he'd stayed at Everton, he could have got them in the top 6? I think he would have, because I think he is that good a manager. I feel like it's a case of he had a 5-year project, but then when Real Madrid, who don't buy anyone else apart from Zidane or Ancelotti, they just keep doing the same thing. Yeah. Ancelotti, Zidane, Lopetegui for maybe a couple of months, get Zidane back in, win a few more trophies, let Zidane go, bring Ancelotti. Listen, if it works, it works. But Ancelotti, for me, in the last 10 years has done more and proved how great a manager he is. If I don't want to say he can't get Everton there, I think it's maybe just that opportunity came. I think he would have got them in the top 6. So I do agree with what you're saying, mate. But it must be, if you're an Everton fan, it must be weird. I would be probably annoyed at losing Ancelotti, because Ancelotti is probably the best manager they're ever going to have on paper. I mean, not saying for their club, but for success. I mean, I don't know if that's a bit outspoken. Would you agree that Ancelotti is probably the best they're ever going to get as a manager?
Yeah, if they get Benitez, I think Benitez and Ancelotti would be their 2 best ever managers.
Yeah.
I agree with you though. I think, and here's the thing, this is probably why it's such a kick in the teeth for Everton, is that if Ancelotti had stayed again for another season, I think this is the best chance they'd have probably had to break into the top 6. Arsenal in a rebuilding phase, Tottenham are just in an absolute state of states at the moment.
They're superb facts, Cal. That's brilliant. I forgot about that.
West Ham are in the Europa League, but their squad's going to be depleted by Europa League, because I don't think they'll add massive numbers to their squad. So West Ham are going to find it difficult in the Prem. And then Leicester City, I think, will finish in the top 5. This would have been the season where Everton could have really tried to put down a stamp of authority and tried to break that 6th place. But I don't think they will now. It takes Benitez, we've seen it as Liverpool fans, it takes Benitez at least a season for him to implement his philosophy and for the players to buy in and for him to get the players he wants. Unless Benitez can go in there and he gets guarantees from the board that, look, because Benitez isn't stupid. He's looked at that Everton squad. He knows who he wants to keep. He knows who he wants to sell. If he can go in there and get, let's say he wants 5 players, he can go and get the 5 players he wants. I think they do top 6 this season.
I think you're right. I think he's obviously he's probably already eyeing up the targets he wants. And realistically, especially this summer, there's a lot of big names, Cal, like the Haaland, the Kane that are for sale. So there is space for other signings that people are not looking at. 100%. Even like it sounds stupid, but like football teams have got scouts. Like a Haaland, Kane, Mbappe summer is good for them because they might be someone's price that say, I don't know, 30 to 40 million, but they can get them more to the 30 sides because it's not hitting the news. It's not a big one, and I feel like that's going to be a factor as well. But sorry, just Marky again. Friday night is for Kopish, absolutely, Mark. Yeah, but overall, obviously Kopi's going to talk more about Benitez tonight, but it's going to be an interesting one, mate. And just the last one is from both of you. Who do you think will be more angry about this? Probably an obvious answer: Everton or Liverpool with Benitez going there. Angry is maybe the wrong word. Annoyed. I think Liverpool fans are annoyed with Benitez because we kind of gave him, this is what Drifty said, we gave him the bly with Chelsea. But I don't know if all Liverpool fans, see like James, for example, shout out to James Redmond, go and check out his channel, amazing. If you're staying in Merseyside, I think specifically that might get on your nerves a little bit. So just what do you both think on that?
I think Everton fans will actually be more annoyed than Liverpool fans.
I would tend to agree. I do think Liverpool fans will be a little bit annoyed because it's like that's twice now, and it's like I understand it's a convenience to them, but yeah. What about yourself, Jersey? Who do you think will be more annoyed?
Sorry to cut you. I don't hold the Chelsea one against him. I actually don't.
But
Chelsea are rivals, but only in the last 10 years, maybe 15 at a push. Like Everton have been rivals forever.
Yeah, I do understand the Merseyside thing. Like, I understand, he's done a lot for Hillsborough, and I think because of that, I think Liverpool fans as well, not just specifically because of that, but because he's got affinity to Liverpool, but he also has got affinity where he stays in Merseyside. I think it'd be wrong as to say that's not the case. So, Jersey, do you feel the same, mate? You think Everton fans will be, because I've seen on some of the banners, I know you just mentioned, it's been quite
fucking, it was vile.
Yeah, no, I know it's. No, I understand they'll be annoyed because I could get it, and I will say this: I live in Scotland. There's no chance a Celtic manager would ever be a Rangers manager, or vice versa. There's been maybe one or two. There's Kenny Miller's most popular one. He played for both teams, but when it comes to managers, that's never. Well, there's been a few coaches. Don't get me wrong, but it's a strange one. It's a strange one. I feel like it'll be interesting to see what transpires. But as I said, Cal, I think that's going to happen now and close to it. But I'll save that. You can do more than that at coffee because I think you'll have a few calls talking about that tonight.
Yeah,
I probably stirred the pot a few of them.
You started a fire there, bro.
No, I know. So next topic, guys, as I say, thanks for your time. And if you need to go, just let me know. No rush. Bro. Great. So the Euros. I didn't want to primarily talk about Euros, just a small section on it. Have we all been loving the Euros? I think it's been fantastic. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm loving it so far. Loving it. If I'm going to be honest, I haven't got to watch as many games live, just through work, Kopish, and all other live stuff. But when I have been able to sit down and watch games live, or I've watched the games on rerun, it's been a good championship so far, man. It really has. I'm looking forward to the knockout stages.
Yeah, mate, these last 16s, these ties are tasty. The way it's kind of worked out with the finish, and even like might sound boring. It's like a Croatia-Spain. See if you like football. See tactically, that's going to be very interesting. England-Germany, are England going to play a free against Germany's free? I mean, there's loads of questions. Even you look at I know I'm Scottish, obviously, but see Czech Republic. Czech's been in good form. Czech Republic are no mugs as well. So I've got a feeling there's going to be. Yeah, there's definitely someone in the last 16 or quarters, a big gun's going to get knocked out by a team who's not as, I say, they're all good teams, but say like if England knocked to Germany out, I'd say that's unexpected, to a certain extent. I think there's going to be one or two like that. I just got a feeling the way teams have been playing. I think it's been outstanding. So Jersey, who's been your favourite team to watch in the championship so far?
Italy. Italy have been amazing, and obviously my beloved France, Allez les Bleus. But here's the really interesting thing. So looking at the draws, there is a real chance if England beat Germany, England could get to the Euro final because they have to play winner of Sweden, Ukraine. They could potentially face Wales in the semis or Netherlands. So
yeah, if you beat Germany, listen, what I've said the other night is like Germany,
I don't
right?
think you're not going to beat Germany.
But the problem is, right, Wales went into one tournament and they beat a team they weren't meant to beat. They knocked out Belgium. That's a massive coup for Wales, and that'll be remembered for years. See if England beat a team they weren't meant to beat for once. I think maybe last time Euro 2000. I might be wrong. I know you beat Germany in the group stage there. But see if you've done that. I'm not saying you need to win it, but that is a coup. That does get the nation well. That's amazing. And even you don't win it, that's still a big deal. You don't forget about that, because I feel I look at Wales and the first thing I think of is Robson Kanu doing the Zidane or the back heel and scoring against Belgium and Sam Vokes header. But if England can win that, and I know you don't want to think too far ahead, but both of you guys being English, if England can win that, you look at the rest of it, more likely going to be a Netherlands you play, right? I think it's Ukraine, Sweden, you beat them, and then a Netherlands. And that's kind of, they're gun-ho, so you've got as much chance of beating them. If you'd said to England, that
sort of thinking you will win it,
but you need to beat Germany. You're going to have to play a big team anyway. I think you've got the best route. So, listen, if that can't motivate the players to do something,
as I said, I think if England win against Germany, they will be in the final against France, and the trophy will go back to Paris, of course. But trust me,
well, we'll see. I've got an unpopular opinion. You're not going to like.
I love Jersey boys that arrogance when he speaks about the French. I absolutely.
Well, the thing is, right? I'm both.
This is the guy who said he would lose 1-0 to Fulham when he was supporting Liverpool this season, and he was right. But this is the difference.
Most of my predictions have been right, but
they have been right. Can't deny that.
My dad's British, my mum's French, so I am born of both nationalities. If I was a footballer, I could play for either one, but. The thing is, for me,
I think you choose England right now, mate. You're not getting France's team.
England and France, and in the final, I want England to win, because I've seen France win everything. England have won fuck all since '66. So, I've watched France 2018 win the World Cup, and I seriously think if France win the Euros, then I'm really happy to see Karim Benzema doing bits. Finally scoring a penalty and scoring a great goal.
What a pass by Pogba that was. Pogba's passing was outstanding.
There's some United fans claiming that Pogba's the best French player. He's not. Like the last couple of years, it's been Griezmann. He's been running.
Yeah, but Pogba's consistent for France, though. Like he has been. He's very good for France.
He's good for France.
That probably annoys United fans more than anything. His consistency for. See that pass to Mbappe? He may have been offside.
Mate, that was unbelievable. That was football.
But that was like he didn't. There was no backlift. Amazing. And listen, I'm not his biggest fan of because he's annoying. So I think he wastes his talent sometimes with the way his consistency, but outstanding talent. I've always said that. Just a shout out to some of the comments here. I hear what Callum's saying about Rafa being a problem. Man like Sean is shouting out, but will we get time to overhaul the squad? Carlo went in there and took them to 10th. What's your thoughts on that, Cal? It's interesting. It's a good point, Sean.
No, it is. I love the last bit where he just says Carlo took them to 10th.
That was like Jersey boy, just monotone and bang. There's the punchline.
No, I fully hear where Sean is coming from. I just don't see Benitez taking a job without guarantees. I think he's had so many poor. Let's be honest, he's worked under Hicks and Gillette, and then Mike Ashley. It doesn't get much worse than that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to go somewhere where. I remember even at Chelsea, he didn't get a January or summer transfer window. He was only brought in from wasn't it February to the end of the season? So he's never worked under an ownership where he's been fully backed and had money.
They do spend. The Everton owners are quite good in it. They do spend. You can't accuse them. They do spend, mate. They do spend.
They've just been poor in the. They've been poor in the market. Like Richarlison was 50 mil or something like that. Gylfi Sigurdsson 45s. They've just been silly with their money.
See, like a Sigurdsson, you could probably argue that in the long run that's a good signing because I think he scored maybe 40 goals for them or something like. He's done a goose. He's lasted the time. Whereas a Richarlison signing is meant to be that one that takes him to the next level. I think maybe Sigurdsson the signing at the time. But even like a Godfrey's quite a good signing. I actually think Godfrey's quite a good player. Digne is actually a really good player. I think he's a brilliant left back.
For Luca Digne before they went. Even when they had Sidibe, I thought Sidibe was a smart signing.
He was very good at Monaco. He was. Yeah. So just they're all questions for you, Cal. It's Demo's saying undercut because Everton's demise. They'll fire him halfway through the season. The fans are fuming. Could happen, Demo, mate.
Yeah, I hope so.
the Everton subject has definitely got people going. We can use that energy to Coppish tonight. No, it's great. But just on the Euros overall, sorry for missing the comments there, folks. See the overall final, obviously the last 16, just to finish this little segment, folks, who's winning it? And I know, before we say this, I'm going to tell Jersey, I do not think France will win it. I think they look very good, but I do think you can get at them. I'm not necessarily, they've never played expansive football, but I just feel like, I think, not saying by a smaller team, but I think they're going to come up against someone. I've looked at Italy, I've looked at Belgium. Whoever wins, kind of the way the seedings go, it probably is going to be Belgium against Italy. And I think whoever wins that, I think can beat France. So that's my prediction on that. Who do you think will win in Jersey? Still sticking with Les Bleus, France?
Of course. I'll be singing the Marseillaise all day long. Paris. Mbappe hasn't been that great so far, the Euros. It's been probably the best French players, probably for me, have been Kimpembe, Varane, Benzema and Pogba.
There you go. Very interesting.
Oh, and Griezmann.
I'll shout out Ali's comment as well. I think I missed it as you're saying about Rafa, and says he thinks he'll fail because Ancelotti's not done well. Interesting point, Ali. I think that if Ancelotti had stayed for the long term, I know he was 10th, but I still think he would have got there eventually because the owners are open checkbooks a bit crazy to say, but they'll keep providing until they hit it because to me they want that success there. But interesting point. So yeah, France. Callum, who's winning the Euros for you, mate?
I've got France as well. I got France, Portugal final, and then I got France to win.
I don't think
Portugal beating Belgium. Yeah, that's a shout, mate. I love that. I love that. Putting it out there, mate. Putting it out there.
Portugal got a great squad, man.
They do. Belgium
defense is not good.
100% agree, mate. 100% agree. I just think De Bruyne looks like he's on it, and Lukaku is the fittest I've ever seen him. I'm not saying he just looks sharp. He looks ready for it, ready to prove people wrong. That's why I think it'll be a Belgium or Italy who will win. I'll say Italy for this video, but I've got to be honest, mate. See Lukaku. Did you see De Bruyne's goal against Denmark? Lukaku beats a man, cuts inside. I've not seen Lukaku do that for a long time. Maybe when he was really young. To me, he looks like a man possessed to prove the doubters wrong.
Again. Yeah, he looks confident again as well.
That right foot finish against Russia, mate, it looks a simple finish, but a lot of strikers might say, oh, I can get to my left foot, I'll just do that and hit in the corner. First time, right foot. And then he done it against his second goal, the not a disallowed goal, the one against Finland. I think it was right foot as well. I just feel like when you've got De Bruyne and Lukaku, I know the defence isn't great, mate, but they've always got a chance. Even Thorgan Hazard's been quite good for them as well. But I'll go for Italy, guys. He has been good.
Just quickly, just saying, I've been looking at the draw here. Portugal final. France cannot be the final.
You're right.
There'll be semi-final.
There'll be away jersey. Let Callum have his opinion. There'll be away.
We might see Portugal versus France semi-final when England versus Netherlands.
Yeah, I'm going France. I'm still going France.
I'm still going France.
I think they've got too much in their squad. I will say though, them losing Dembele to injury, I think
it was going to happen. The guy's made of paper, like honestly.
I know, but who have they really got on the bench? I mean, Kingsley Coman's got good pace, but he's not Benzema. Sorry, he's not Mbappe or Dembele fast.
Yeah. I think he's a good player, Coman. I think he's more like he's a proper winger. I think Coman. I think he's like. But in the Champions League final, I actually like Coman. I mean, I think that's mental that we don't even talk about him. Like he's a proper clutch player in my opinion. Like Champions League final, Bayern Munich, PSG, he steps up. Coman's good. You've got I actually know who I think is a good player. But is it Koundé? But is he a centre half?
He's a centre back. Yeah,
he's definitely a centre back because he's not a right back.
Yeah,
he's not a right back.
I think Koundé is very overrated. You know.
Mate, I'd put my left base dribbler against him and he would beat him. I didn't think he was good against Portugal. I'm not saying he was bad, sorry. He looked good, but he looked like a centre-back playing at right-back. Yeah. There's going to be weaknesses there. Even Pavard, people have a go at me. I think Pavard's a great defender.
Pavard. Even him, when Bayern Munich bought him, I was livid because I was like, he covers right-back and centre-back. Why are we not in for him? And he's 30 million, I think he cost, if that.
And I feel like they like that balance, don't they, France? Because the right back can be more because he is more defensive. He's not going to terrify you at right wing back. He's decent at right back, but they've got Hernandez as well, or Digne. Digne actually, I think he's injured as well. Then They've got superb. So just a shout out, Demo shouting Spain, mate. That's a bold statement. I think they can't finish their dinner. I know they scored 5 the other day, but
no firepower.
Just answering the question, wingers wise, at the moment we're playing Griezmann as a cam. Griezmann isn't really a cam, but he can play on the wing. So you could have, like this is what I've wanted for a long time, and I think this could work against Switzerland. You play Benzema up front, you play Mbappe on the left, you play Griezmann on the right, and you play Lamar as a cam, and then Kante and Pogba, and then the problem for France is there's a left back problem.
Sorry, guys.
The left back problem.
There.
Digne is injured for France, and France now only have one left back left, which is Hernandez. And against Portugal, we had to play Rabiot at left back.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I see what you're saying, Jersey boy. If France are going to go for a 4-2-3-1, though, I wouldn't play Pogba in a double pivot. I think it wouldn't work. I think you need someone who's better defensively than Pogba. So I'd go Kante and maybe
Rabiot, or you got Sissoko.
I'm not a big Sissoko fan. Even Tolisso, I'd go more Tolisso.
Talisso's good.
You think they miss Matuidi? I said this a couple of weeks ago. People have forgotten about the Matuidi role in that World Cup team. I know sometimes it was like a 4-4-2, is that right, on paper? But actually, Matuidi came in.
Yeah, it was against Croatia. We played 4-4-2, and Matuidi played left wing.
Yeah, Matuidi was.
I did not used to rate him that highly. Not rate him, but not that highly. Matuidi. And then when I watched that tournament, I was like, because sometimes I found him quite frustrating as a player because he was good, but he was like, he had moments where it was like decision making. But in that tournament, people forget the way. See, if it's not trendy, it just doesn't. I'm like, why is no one talking about Blaise Matuidi? Was unbelievable in that tournament, and I like Tolisso, but I don't know if he can replace that. So maybe that might be key in the last couple of games. Matuidi, I thought in certain games, him and Kante done a lot of running, and cover for Pogba. Pogba's been superb though, but that double pivot's a really interesting point, Cal. So Rams is saying, Netherlands, mate, fair play to De Boer, because we were saying he was, he's going to have a poor tournament. I know they're probably expected to get through, but they've been impressive, and I've enjoyed watching them. Dumfries, by the way, I did not rate him that highly, but I've been very impressed.
He has been
very good.
Yes.
And
if they had, dare I say, if they had Van Dijk, you could see them getting to the semis, I'd say.
The thing is, the route's quite good as well,
Yeah,
but
they still could.
They still could, but I said this last week, and you said I think maybe our prediction, if they get to the semis, if they had Van Dijk, they probably could win it, just because of when they hit a big opposition. I like the way they're going about it. They're just like, listen, we're not amazing defensively. We just need to try and outscore, and it's working. To be fair,
it is.
They're exciting to watch. Sorry, mate, I've got a few comments. Loads. Thanks for the comments, folks. Loads. Jersey boy, what's your thoughts on Mbappe at the Euros?
As I said, Mbappe has not been that great. He's missed a lot of good chances, but as I said, at the moment he's been playing Mbappe as a striker because he's been playing two up front with Benzema. I want 4-2-3-1 before Dembele got injured. I wanted Benzema 9, Mbappe left wing, Dembele right wing, and Griezmann in the middle. But he didn't do that. So now Dembele is injured. Against Portugal, we played Tolisso right wing. I think maybe play Tolisso and Pogba. No, Tolisso and Cam. Maybe do you think Pogba would do good as a cam attacking midfielder? No.
Yeah.
So maybe you could play 4-2-3-1 with Benzema, Mbappe, Griezmann. Pogba's behind the Benzema, and in a double pivot of Kante and Tolisso. And also, just want to say, De Boer, I thought De Boer was an average manager, but he's actually been playing.
I think that sums up Rams is putting it out there, and he's been honest. Shout out to Rams. He's saying, I may have to apologise, I called him a moron. Well, do you know what? I think we've all, I'm not saying humble pie, but he suits that style of football. I think at the time with Palace, we all said 3 games is not enough to judge anyone.
Yeah.
I still don't think he's a great manager, but I like managers who know their strengths and they're not beating around he's not trying to be something he's not.
Yeah.
And I think that is the players definitely respect them 100%. You've got big personalities in there. You've got Van Dijk near the squad. You've got Gini. You've got Frankie de Jong at Barcelona. So you have to, obviously he's a Holland legend, so that carries a bit. We talk about Gerrard all the time, Cal, having that aura. I think in Holland the board will get the respect. So very interesting. Now, folks, thank you very much. And I know the comments, I'll try and get to them at the end. We'll just go to the last topic. I know you're all good for time still. Let me know if you have to leave. It's absolutely fine.
Great. Yeah, mate. I'm feeling sick because of the COVID vaccine, the side effects. So I'm not going to do anything today anyway. So
you're good. That's fine. I thought you were going to say you're going to go and spew the now.
No, mate. No.
No. Right. So what we'll go for is I'm Italy, used to France. Very interesting. We've got the receipts. This is a good thing about YouTube. Now, before we do the last segment, I've got another comment here. And I'll go to Cal. I'll go to you, mate, for it. Your lineup. So it's Abdul Saleh. How you doing, bud? And your lineup for the next England game, Cal, against Germany.
What I would play is probably not what Southgate would play. So I just say what I'd play. I would go 4-2-3-1 for England. Walker right back. I'd go Shaw left back. Then I'd go Maguire and Stones. As the two holding players, I would go Rice and Phillips, only because I don't think Henderson's fully fit. And then I'd go the three behind Harry Kane would be Grealish in a 10, Sterling on the left. Ooh. And you know what? I'd go Saka on the right. I think that Saka deserves to keep his place.
Interesting. And Kane up front, obviously.
Yeah, Kane through the middle.
And Jersey, who's your England lineup?
Pickford, Walker, because there's been rumours. I'm fucking fuming because it's bloody Southgate. There's rumours he's going to start Trippier. Why Trippier? It's because of free kicks. Because the reason we've got no Trent, there's no.
He was good in the first game. He was good in the first game.
We played left back, so. For me, I want Walker because I think Walker's the best defensively of all the right backs. So
he's got the best. He's got the best recovery pace. You need to utilise that.
The defense in the last one has not changed because Maguire was class, Stones was class, Shaw was class.
We'll find out how good the defense has been. Good, mate.
Shots against Czech Republic, but he was good. For me, this is really hard because. I'm going 4-2-3-1 as well. It's really difficult because I want to start Henderson, but Henderson's not been.
I can't see Henderson starting against Germany with the midfield they've got, and if he's not fully fit, they might use it because of the experience. They might say, "Well, we need to start Henderson because we're worried Rice and Phillips could get in the moment." But they've been called up for the Euros again.
This is why I bloody wish England had Ward-Prowse because I would have started Ward-Prowse to be perfect on the free kicks and stuff, but for me, it has to be Phillips and Rice, even though it's so bloody defensive. But no really options. I want to. The things is a game for Bellingham. I think it's going to be the exact same lineup against Czech Republic, except I don't think he's going to start Saka. Because I love Saka, but I just don't think it's a big, huge game. So for me. Grealish will start through the middle again. Sterling will start because the thing is, I was dissing Sterling for being average all season, but the thing is, he scored every single goal for England this tournament.
He's effective. That's what Raheem Sterling is. We know that. Good. He's not a baller like Grealish. We know that.
He hasn't been that good for big tournaments, but this year he has. He's been on his last appearances. He's been scoring loads of goals. He scored a hat-trick against Czech Republic in the Euro qualifiers. He's been class. I think he's been class for England. Not that good for City. Hopefully he can change that around. But I think Sterling his space has to stay. He starts for me.
He's effective, Sterling. That's the thing.
Kane, Grealish, Cam, and I'm going to go Sancho because I think Sancho is
no Mason Mount because I know Mount can actually be ready.
From what I heard, Mount and Chilwell are going to be out again.
I've heard it's Tuesday that it finishes on Monday, so I heard they were looking to do social distance training, and I hear what you're saying. Probably will be. I would start Grealish, but I could see Mount getting added to that because Southgate loves him. But we'll see. I think thanks for that. Great shout, Sandy. No shout of Sancho, which is a bit mental as well. I know that's not going to realistically happen, but what a player to have on the bench as well and not play.
I just said Sancho.
No, that's
did you say Sancho on yours?
Yeah,
I just said I have Sancho on the right.
On the right, who did you take out then? Sorry, Jersey, I missed that.
No,
I took out Saka from my lineup.
Just because I love Saka, but
getting someone else. Foden. Oh, Foden's on the bench. Yeah, Foden's on the bench.
The reason why I went Saka over Sancho is because I think Saka was so good in that last game. But I get the logic, especially playing against a German team. Quite a lot of their players play in the Bundesliga as well.
Yeah,
could be
James. Shout out to James. I really like Saka, but our last game when you're already qualified against Czech Republic, I get compared to Germany are two different things. And people might say, I really like Saka and any challenges he's came to, I get that, but I just feel like inside game management, Sancho would be a great choice in this match because he's literally played against those defenders and his teammates. Yeah. Look at Billy Gilmour against Mason Mount.
Yeah,
plays him every week, and he's best player in the park because of that. You can't tell me that Sancho against Hummels. You know, it's not rocket science, as we say. It's not, but that'll be interesting. So, last segment, folks, and I really appreciate that, and thanks for your input there. Last one is, I think we can all agree. I think the refereeing's been pretty top at the tournament.
Excellent.
I'd say 8 out of 10. There's always the problem I've got is like, do you ever expect footballers to pay 10 out of 10? No. So why do you expect every ref to? It's not going to happen. I think the Mbappe call the other night, I'd say wasn't a pen. I feel like the ref, who's actually a brilliant ref, he was the Champions League final ref. I think he's a really good ref. I just think he got that one wrong. I thought the handball was correct. I don't care what you say. You can't stop a cross going into the box with your hand. That's my opinion on it. And yes, Lloris nearly knocking out Danilo was definitely a penalty. So I feel like, I don't know about yourselves, I've enjoyed when I've watched every game from the very first game, I feel like the Euros, the association, they've said, listen, it's a contact sport, remember, so it's excessive force. So it's like, see when players are falling, stop being so whistle happy all the time. Yeah. And I've seen that, they've been, and even the English refs, like I feel like it's been drummed into them. It's not a ref letting it go, it's like, it's a contact, like that's what I've found. It's refreshing because that's what I say. And it's like, see if they fall. There's been about 10 occasions where a player's fell in his own box expecting a free kick and he's not got it in this tournament. And see, as the tournament's continued, you can see that players understand that now. So I've been so impressed. And do you agree, Jersey? You've been quite happy with officiating?
I have. I think it's been quite difficult recently because obviously in the Portugal-France game, I think it was a tricky situation for Lloris because, I don't think he deliberately punched Danilo in the head.
But deliberately doesn't matter. It's never been a rule.
But, what I'm saying is, like, Semedo didn't even fucking touch Mbappe. I'm afraid
that's not a pen. That's not a penalty. It's a contact sport. It's embarrassing that. But do you know what? I'll take one of them if you get the other 50 correct. And I think it's been that way.
I still think France would have drawn that game and got a goal from somewhere else. But I definitely know the penalty.
I don't know what Koundé's doing. Like people are like, it's that close. You cannot stick your hands like that. And they're not by your side. You can't. The way I see it is, Jota could be in the box and that ball's stopping the ball going across the face. So that's stopping a chance. So that's the way I see it. But maybe there's a debate on that. But I appreciate, I feel like, the Lloris one, I get what you're saying. He has to go.
It was still a penalty. I'm not saying it's not a penalty. I'm just saying.
If you'd done that in the street, you'd get arrested. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he means it. I'm not saying he means it. He seems like a really nice guy, but he's got that in him, Lloris. He's got that moment in him. I've always thought that. He's always got a wreck in him like that.
I think he's massively overrated, Lloris. Sorry, Jersey boy.
No, I agree. He's overrated, mate.
I think he's a brilliant keeper, but not a great keeper. Not a top.
He only starts for France because he's captain. I prefer like Matanda or Lafont. There's so many brilliant French keepers, but it's Lloris.
He is like a cat. Like, see, shot stopping. He's very good at that. I just feel like
he's good at penalties.
I'd put pressure on him in a box from a corner, but it's interesting. So on that, just a link in England Germany coming up this week, and the biggest goal or non-goal controversy was the one that didn't cross the line. Now on this, I just wanted to get your opinion on. Like VAR's here to stay. The referee's performance at Euros has gave me a new lease of life. That's how I want football to be played. With that, it is a contact sport. If someone falls, don't blow your whistle. Let's make it the game that we love. Now with VAR, as much as Cal's probably pulled his hair out at times this year, and Drift, if he had hair, would pull it out, and then Matt would just phone up and just scream. But overall, I think what I've read with VAR, with the lines getting thicker, which it will make a difference, because what I mean is, if they're offside, it's that level now, and it's a case of, right, they're offside. We can't, breaking it down. If it's that increase, it's offside. It's got to be a line somewhere, and with the lines being thicker, I can accept that. It gives a bit of benefit of doubt. With that coming into place, and then with the VAR at the championships, do you guys have got any recommendations or suggestions going forward to the Premier League season? And there's anything you'd like maybe to change to help improve? Because let's be honest, guys, the Germany game proved, I know that's goal line technology, but VAR is here for the long run. We need it, because there's just decisions that
naked eye can't see.
See, the Danilo challenge the other night, I know he gave the penalty, but for me, if Portugal lose that game, I would be fuming if that happened. And I feel like, as much as we don't like it at points, I think we can get it to a certain area that it's maybe only a few times we feel that's annoying a season, and it becomes quicker. So I just wanted to get Cal, I'll go for you first. What's your thoughts on how can we improve VAR and for the Premier League season ahead?
I think you've said a lot, Conroy, and I think for me it is the whole treat it like a contact sport. It's a contact sport. Not every time a player puts his hand on your back, you throw yourself to the floor and the referee gives a decision. And again, what you'll start seeing as the competition progresses, which is what you would have seen in the Premiership, is players fall down because they know they'll get the whistle blown. Now, on the flip side of that, what referees should be doing is, say, for example, someone's tugging at someone else's shirt, or they are fouling that person, but the person doesn't go to ground, you still give a free kick or a penalty, because then that encourages people to stay on the ground, on their feet, and know that they'll still get fair treatment. I think that needs to be the first thing. I think the thicker lines is going to be really, really good. I think that's a smart move and a smart idea to do. But also, again, it's knowing that you can lean on VAR, but don't use it as the be all and end all. As a referee, you're trained to do what you're doing. Use some of your nous, but at the same time, know that you've got VAR to back you up if you're unsure. Don't just use it for the sake of it. That would be my 3 suggestions.
See, the thing is, Cal, see the referee against Portugal, see how he got the Mbappe one wrong, right? Yeah. But he still went with his decision. So what I mean by that is, I don't mind that as much if he's been confident in his ability. Yes, he may have got it wrong, but I don't think you can also be angry at him for being decisive as well.
Yeah,
they should maybe step in and make him look at the monitor again. But I thought the refs have tried to referee the games properly, and then if they need it called up, they'll get called up. But spot on, mate. See, for me, what will happen is I feel like it's happened in this championship. Watch the first game, was it Turkey? The guy fell in the box and the ref would just not blow and let it continue. Then they players realise that they're going to keep losing the ball and not get a free kick. And if you do that in the first month in the Premier League, honestly, because that's what's happening in the Championship, they've realised, I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to give him the ball. Precisely. With the pulling, I agree, mate. See, like the pulling and not to go down. I just think it's baby steps with that one. I feel like if we get that, bringing back the contact sport and not someone falls as a foul, and then we can look at that as well. But I agree. The question you'll probably get going forward, Cal, is see like a VAR review. See if someone's just pulling someone and they don't go down, will that be reviewed? So that's maybe something that I think will develop as well. But I think the points were great, and I feel like I see some hope for VAR now. I feel like in a couple of years it could be at a stage where it's just part of the game, but we're still celebrating a lot. And then if it does get called back, we can accept it because we know there's not a element of that shouldn't have been disallowed. So that's the Championship has given me a lot of positives towards that. What about yourself, Jersey? What's your feelings towards VAR and how can it improve the Premier League season ahead?
Talking about other sports, I was talking to my dad about this. Like, if you watch rugby, if you say anything, you back talk to the ref, you get sent off. Like, the refs do not tolerate any bull crap. I would like it to be a bit more like that in the Premier League, where refs are more stricter and refs actually, because they're more like lenient on fouls and stuff in rugby and that kind of stuff. And for me, I would really like at some point to have the refs mic'd up and understand why they're doing their decisions. It just doesn't make sense to me. And
Excellent
also,
point.
Accountability.
I think the thicker lines are good because you can clearly see. If, for example, like let's say we had a Neto situation like Liverpool 2 seasons ago, where Neto didn't score because his toenail. With the thicker lines now, it's clear it's offside. If that's given,
and you can't argue. I think there's enough.
You can't argue if it's given, then you know it's a robbery. That's called an offside goal. So it makes stuff more clearer now, and they can't cheat with the lines anymore. Because before they could.
I wouldn't say. I feel like if you do the lines like that way, it all comes from. Not to say I told anyone this, but see Holland put like a 10 millimeter like benefited out, and it doesn't mean they change it. It's the original decision, so it's not like if it's disallowed, it's disallowed. It doesn't get changed. But they gave that benefit of the doubt. So the thicker lines to me is just another version of that. They've allowed it, so it means that there's a grey area that's a benefit of the doubt, and you go with the call. And it'll probably 9 times out of 10 that'll be onside because the ref won't put the flag up. The linesman, sorry. So I think that's a great shout, Jersey. On the mic'd up thing, brilliant point. Just before that, though, I would say that the respect for referees has to go along with that, though, because it's really easy for us to lose a match and have a go at like. I like Michael Oliver, so I'll say Michael because I like him, right? And it's not. I know there's like the Paulsons and the Taylors. There's definitely been a Liverpool issue there in the past. I'm not saying that, but like Oliver, I respect Oliver as a referee, right? So see when the players are. He'll probably get called everything under the sun. So you can't have, it's a double-edged sword. It has to be both ways. So either, like, I don't know if you watch is it the rugby ref? He's really good. He just says, this is not soccer. You either go down that route where it's like that, you know, if you want to get mic'd up. And additionally, if they're mic'd up, it'll probably make the players have to respond to that, because if they get sanctioned, like a free game ban, if they swear at the ref, if it's mic'd up, you've got both sides. So the respect will actually probably improve towards the ref, even though it shouldn't need to be the case, but that's humans, and the respect in rugby compared to football is ridiculous. It's actually embarrassing.
Look what Ram said. Ram says in cricket there's a saying where the man in the white coat is always right. People don't give respect to the referees. And as I said, in rugby, there is a zero toleration for abuse to the... If, for example, the referee says you're off and you go, oh, you complain about it, they will drag you out the pitch. So,
and I think the thing is, it's not even in football. I think it's the type of language. It's not like they're saying you can't question what the referee's saying. But it's an interesting one. I think if you watch that clip with Australian, who's now in the Championship, the Australian ref who done it for BT.
I think he's gone up with the Premier League. There's rumours he's going up.
He has. I would love to start it with him because he's quite good. And it'll prove as well, Cal, because he's a neutral personality. He's not a English. It'll prove where the main issue is. Is it with the players or is it with... Because you started with him. He's been mic'd up before. So then I agree, guys. I think the future mic'd up, it means referees, I thought, would be up for it because they would stop getting called everything under the sun and they would get a bit more protection. And it means if someone said something, you can hold them to rights. And I feel like a free game ban, something like that. What do you think? Do you think it will ever happen, mic'd up, Cal?
Here's the thing. It's difficult for me. So when I play football, I'm very different to how I am on stream with you guys. Like I'm an idiot. Let's be honest. I'm just gonna be. I'm an idiot when I play football. I won't go and foul people or anything like that on purpose by any means. But if I feel like my team's being wrong done by the referee, I'm gonna be vocal about it. I won't swear after the referee and that, not unless I'm given a reason to.
No, I agree with the vocal thing, Cal. I was just thinking more like the specific words. I think, like, I'm not saying you don't talk to the referee, but we know some of the stuff that gets said.
Yeah. So I mean that's an argument to be had, but I don't want to see a game where no one can question the referee's decision, because I think if, let's say for example, a player on your team's fouled twice and the referee doesn't give it, but you're not allowed to say anything. For me, you should be able to say something that kind of, even if it just plants the seed in the referee's mind that maybe I am being a little biased or maybe I'm being, because we're all humans. We may think we're right, but sometimes it needs someone to tell us, you know what, you're not doing that right, however it comes. So I think I don't want to see footballers not being able to question referees or zero tolerance policy, but yeah, the swearing and the abuse, that should stop. That really should stop. Because I've been on the other side. I've been on a referee when I've had to stop a game and tell a player, like, look, you wouldn't speak to me like that outside, so what are you playing at? So
yeah, I think I'm in between both of these, to be honest. I'll be honest, I think the rugby shout, for me, it's not a zero tolerance thing. It's more a case of the respect you've got. What I mean by that is, I've not got an issue. If I think the referee in the European Championship, refs have came up and they've had conversations. Like Pogba the other night, he's talking to Pogba, but you can tell there's respect there and it's not like abusive. Not got a problem with that, and I feel like being mic'd up would probably solve that, because it means you're not going to get people calling them everything under the sun, but you can maybe encourage the conversations. Because I'll be honest, Cal, I don't think that the conversation's ever going to stop, because it's such a passionate sport that you're always going to have people to discuss with them. But I felt that European Championship, there's a lot of respect being given to the refs, so that they're not going to come and surround them. They're going to talk to them and actually inquire about the decision. So I feel like I agree with both points, but just in between a bit, I think there's a balance there that could be good for the future.
Yeah, so I think what I'd also say to that as well, I think respect's a two-way street. And what I've noticed, and then again, this is just from me playing football, if a referee is respectful in the way they speak to me, I'm way more likely to be respectful back. But let's say, for example, a player commits a foul on me and I think it's a yellow card and I say, ref, that should be a yellow, and he turns around and says, no, it's not, my decision's final, rah, rah, rah. Straight away, you've got my backup now, because I'm like, I should be allowed to question that decision from you. You shouldn't just shut me down like that. You should, if anything, you say, oh, player, let me speak to you for a sec. The reason I didn't give him a yellow was because of this reason, that reason, but I'm watching the game, I'm watching on both sides. Then there's no issue. Even if I don't agree with you, you've explained yourself, it's done. But if you turn around and you just like, well, my decision's final, don't question it, I'm going to be like, yeah, you're not my dad. Like,
do you not think the best refs aren't like that though, Cal? Do you think
they are? I think that's why we're seeing this in the Euro. Like Mike Dean's a perfect example. He has got to be the most arrogant referee I've seen in my life. Like, I'd definitely get sent off with Mike Dean, and not even for fouling it. I'd just get into an argument with him. He'd send me off, because I hate when referees are just arrogant and just think because they've got that whistle, they can speak to you in a certain way or sort of be demeaning and things like that. So we wouldn't get on. Whereas a referee in the Euros, I'm all good with that. If I don't agree with your decision, but you explain why you did it, that's fine. I live with that. And I think that's why the Premier League has so many problems, because you've got referees who turn around and said, I'm not explaining myself, or I don't need to explain myself. I've blown the whistle. I've given a decision. Tough, deal with it. When it's not as simple as that.
It's definitely a two-way street, though. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, there's definitely, because the thing I'd say about that is John Moss. I don't particularly rate him highly. He's okay, right? But see, like, was it Dan Guthrie for Bournemouth saying he had a bit of banter with him and he went to a paper? Come on, you can't have it like that. You're literally a footballer on great money as well. And I'm not saying refs don't get paid well, but it's like he's trying to encourage a bit of banter, which is like. So it's a bit like, see, when someone does that, I could understand why refs are distant. If you know what I'm saying, Cal. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but that would annoy me. But I think there's more examples where I rate Michael Oliver. I think he's a good ref. But see, the European Championship refs, I rate that they've got quite a good relationship with the players. Like, they know them all first names, and you could tell that see if someone's maybe getting a bit irate, like Cal, like you say, you do in football, they'll talk to them, they'll explain the decision. And I do agree with that. And I think this Australian guy who's come to Premier League, I'm telling you, I think he's what can be used for miking up. He's very good. You watch it on BT, he was very, very good. And it'll be very interesting. Anything to add to that, Jersey?
Nothing. I think, I'm hoping VAR will be better for next season. And there's only been, I think, one bad decision so far in the Euros, and I think that was the Mbappe Semedo
but you take that as well. You're not going to get everything correct. That's never going to happen.
No, you can't. They're human beings. We'll make mistakes. You can't. There's no perfect human being unless you're a cyborg or something.
Yeah. But the ironic thing is, I would say, is the problem I think we had with football before VAR was, see, instead of analysing the game, they would spend so much time having a go at referees' mistakes. And now, instead of doing that, they blame VAR. And I don't know if that's maybe a human thing with analysts as well. Yes, there's mistakes, but sometimes it's like we need to accept that. I know it's difficult, but see, when pundits who are neutral, you should not be going at them as much. You could explain it, but you don't. I just think sometimes that's a bit unfair as well. And we've kind of got ourselves in a situation now where it's like a siege mentality, where refs are like, they feel like they're on away from it and they don't want to be open, whereas I think other countries have got better respect. But no, it's very interesting, and I think those points will be really interesting. And I think towards the season we'll get another video and look at how it's going. Just a shout out to Rams. Rams is saying the cricket, the white coats, I was right. I feel like I agree with Cal and Jersey that there needs to be more respect, but I do think there has to be a a player's still allowed to question a decision. But I don't think it's difficult if you know what you're talking about to say, this is why I made it. I'm sorry if you're unhappy, but that's the call. Because I think you respect someone when they do that. I agree. Like the naughty school teacher tactic, that wouldn't work with me, Cal. There's some refs that I've actually got angry at, but because they've been a good ref, I've apologised to them 2 minutes later for me having a go. Because it's, see, if I look like the idiot, I know it's me who's the idiot there because they've actually refed it properly. So I get that, mate. No, I was right. Yeah, Demo, I like that. That was a good one, mate. See, that's good, Rams, right? And I do get that. And there's some teams who take advantage of that because it's actually only meant to be the captain most of the time, but other players do question. But then that can maybe fall into both. Maybe if you've got that respect as a whole, that you can do it. But then from players, see when they surround the referee, that always annoys me as well because that would do my head in if I was a ref. But no, great comments, Ryan. I know.
I'll be honest. Jersey, where that is the worst thing you could do to someone.
Yeah. So you've got quite a lot of refereeing experience, Cal. Have you had ref quite a few games?
I've refed a couple of games, nothing like big. No, like big games. But I've refed a couple of games, and
it must have been quite intimidating, especially if you've got a few big. Well, I know you're tall yourself, Cal. Don't get me wrong, but like centre backs in the team if they're huge.
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it's intimidating. It's more. I think there's an element of frustration, but also an element of understanding as well, because I've been on both sides. Like I played and I've had bad refereeing decisions go against me as well. So it's like, I get the frustration. For me, I think there's always a limit though. Like if you tell me to F off once, I'll let it go. But if you continuously do it, then we're going to have a chat at least.
That's me doing that.
Once it's okay, and you might be like, because I said I've done it before when I was annoyed at myself, and you don't swear at him, but you just say F off, like outspoken with it, right?
Yeah.
But some people are just like not nice human beings. I've realised that in a part, like they turn, and it's like I think, as you say, mate, if someone's actually just abusing you, you need to have that word. But then see, the thing is, refs could be better with that. See if someone comes and actually abuses them, they can book them. Like they could. I'm not saying you have a word with them, but you can use that as well. And I don't think refs help themselves sometimes because it doesn't have to be zero tolerance. But see if a player's consistently saying F to you, you could just book them.
For the yellow card, and just say that.
Because like you've caused this, mate. Like, it's not me. I've gave you 3 warnings. Yeah. But sorry, just shout out to Rand saying, I don't know if you guys know, but if you see Marcelo captain for Real, he's always good report arrest. Always smart. But I'm pretty sure because Ramos and Marcelo from the same team, they know that you definitely, I'm not saying it's nothing fixed, nothing like that, but if you have got a good relationship, if there's a 50-50 call, maybe before VAR, you definitely, there's something there. And I heard something in a show, John Fashion, who was on the other day, on a show I was listening to, and he says before the before the referees would play, right? If he didn't know them, he would find out who their wife was called, where they stayed in that, and before the game he said, "How's the family? How's it going?" and all that. Just so on the park he'd get that edge. If a decision, he says, "Oh, I won't." And first minute he went and he half someone, and then he said, "Right, you get a warning," because he knew him. Yeah, that was excellent.
I do that. I go up to the referee before a game, shake a hand, or I'll be like, "Good day, ref." Yeah, I'll make a little joke, or I'll just say something cheeky. I'll be like, "Remember, if there's two, like let's say for example, I walk into the pitch, the ref's talking to the other team." Before the game starts, I'll be like, "Ref, remember there's 2 teams here. I know you got a relationship with the other team, but there's 2 teams, yeah." I'll just
absolute Callum mind game Sanderson. Honestly,
I'm a different person. I'm a different person.
Mate, that is superb. Actually, I really enjoyed that chat, folks. It was a good wee debate about that. Really enjoyed that. I think that's one we'll put on the back burner because the season starts. I think there'll be a few different announcements towards VAR, so it's going to be interesting. With the cricket, the captain and the bowler can inquire with the ref, mainly the bowler, but you can't lose your cool, otherwise you're kicked the game. I think the thing, Ram, is what we're saying is, I think with football and just the way it's kind of developed, is it's always going to be passionate, but there's a difference between being abusive and being passionate, swearing and actually just asking a question. And I think that's what we're saying. But each to their own. I know Jersey and Ram are more on the zero tolerance policy. It will be interesting, but yeah, that was a good one, and it was a good debate, folks. So I think we've covered all the topics. Is there anything you wanted to add, or anyone in the comments, any questions, just feel free. Is anything, Jersey, anything you want to add, mate?
Sorry, I'm too busy singing La Marseillaise to myself.
Are you? Aye, getting prepared.
Yeah, nothing, mate. Just hopefully the US continues as good as it's been, and hopefully City sign no one.
There'll all be 0-0 draws following this. There'll all be 0-0 draws. Callum, about yourself, also Coppish, I said earlier, Coppish calling tonight. What time he's on tonight, mate?
7 tonight.
7 tonight. Well,
Yeah.
no football game on, that's why. So 7 tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Tomorrow kicks off tomorrow Denmark, Wales.
Yeah. Check out Jersey's channel, check out Callum Coppish, obviously, and the Sanderson show if you like your UFC, MMA. I've got to be honest, I like fighting, but I didn't know loads about it. I've watched 3 videos on Callum's channel, and I think I've educated myself much more now. But just the last comment here, Demo, how you doing, Demo, mate? He's saying my comment is don't sell. To be fair, Demo said this earlier. Harry and Nat Phillips and Harry Wilson. Well, the 13 million, I'll let Cal, he'll be talking about that later on Coppish, but 13 million for Wilson, I think that probably will happen. And Nat, listen, I wouldn't sell Nat Phillips. Would you sell Nat Phillips' jersey?
No.
I think it's silly. What about yourself, Callum?
Naldini? I'm not selling Naldini to anyone.
Because
50
it looks
million
like we
or
might be
nothing.
getting, Well,
I'll give him a John McGinn
back again.
50 mil or nothing.
No, I like that. Yeah, I agree, guys. I think it's personally, I think we've lost a tool if we get rid of Nat Phillips, because for me, a Burnley away, those games that we always not notoriously lose, but it's always like I think with Nat Phillips, he made it look like a breeze at Turf Moor. He actually made it look like a breeze.
He is kryptonite. He's Burnley's kryptonite.
You'll get
Burnley, Van Dijk and Nat Phillips are going to smash them.
I would play, honestly, I'm not even exaggerating, I would have him for those games, and I feel like he plays all the cup games, and then people say he's not a game, he'll get 15, 20 games a season. He'll at least get 15 games, right? Yeah. And he's there. The injuries we had this season, who's to say we won't get a few again? So, yeah.
Especially
my
Gomez
is sell now.
Mark
A.
You something kills.
Absolute controversial, Mark.
I'll
talk to you later about that. No, Mark. That's brilliant, mate. Davies, mate. Who's Davies? Cal, who's Davies?
Look, so we had Neil Jones on the channel yesterday, and even Neil Jones has said he's not physically seen him. He hasn't physically seen him. Neil Jones is a great journalist, hasn't physically seen Davies.
Mate, it's because Davies is a hologram.
He's a hologram.
He's an actual hologram. The reason he his pictures is because he's photoshopped in.
No, I think
the guy's in the basement with Keita and them lot.
I'm not. Listen, I don't want to pile on the guy, but listen, I hope he gets even a pre-season friendly, just one game for Liverpool, so he can say he's played a game. That's all I'd hope, because I think we're all Liverpool fans, been in that position, you know. Harley, what's your thoughts on the John McGinn, Liverpool Scottish Iniesta? Love John McGinn, mate. I think he'd be very valuable to Liverpool if you could get him at a reasonable price, but he's not a priority. The money you're talking from, again, you could get a Bissouma or a Renato Sanchez. I'd get a Bissouma just for the experience.
I want Renato Sanchez. He was class.
Yeah, he was class, but Callum will say the exact same thing. We're very good at exaggerating after. He is class, Renato Sanchez. His season's been very good, but Bissouma's done it. Like, just get Bissouma. Like, I don't understand why I get, like, Sanchez is good and I really like him, but Bissouma for me. McGinn would be great. I think Klopp would like McGinn because he can do a few different roles. He would get us a lot of goals from midfield, which we've been lacking, but he's not necessarily a number 10. He's more like a kind of Frank Lampard running in the box. He's quite good at that late run. So I think overall, if you could get him for 25, 30 million, Klopp would probably think about it, but not for 50. Villa have priced Liverpool to that. They're not realistically. They're going to sell Grealish, get Buendia, maybe Smith Rowe, and keep McGinn. That's what I think the plan will be. That is the reason we can challenge all fronts. 100% Rams. Virgil, what is it? Virgil, Nat Van Dijk, what a player.
I want to see Nat starting the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, same.
John McGinn. Well, I don't want to bore you with the chant, but I'll do it once. So it's super. We've got Super John McGinn, and the way it goes, guys, he's Steve Clarke's man, better than Zidane. And well, do you know what?
Before you leave, can you sing the Boogie song before you leave, so we can embarrass you a bit more?
I'll hold on. Davis will come good once he arrives. Sabitzer sentiment. Rams, mate. It's 1 hour 25 minutes. And we're still in that.
I knew it was coming.
Oh mate, Rams. Listen, I actually like Sabitzer really good. I think he's good, but I heard rumours 15 million. Then I heard rumours he's 30 million. So I'm not sure what's happening with the contracts. Last question, folks. I know we're ready to go now. Jeremy Doku, long term. So I've heard a lot of good things. I've only watched them a few times. I think he's only played a little bit of the European Championships. But what's your thoughts on Doku? Do you think a replacement for Mane?
He's good. I think we've already got a replacement for Mane and Jota, though. I think we need a Salah replacement. And in my opinion, that would have been Neto if he weren't injured.
I think he's just maybe a bit too young, Doku, right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like even a Mane and a Salah, they were performing at a level, and we've took them to the next level. But good shout, Marky. Good shout, mate. And
I'm really annoyed because Neto, man, like I really wanted him, and he's done the same bloody injury as Gomez. He's out now to what?
Cal's like, we could get him cheaper. Just offer the money now.
I
agree.
I'd still buy him.
My last question is: have you guys seen the McDonald's kit?
No.
McDonald's?
No, have you not seen the third kit? It looks like Ronald McDonald. Where
do you know what?
I'm just telling you this.
I'm alright.
If Nike have gone from that leaked kit I saw, which was beautiful, to this Ronald McDonald outfit.
Ronald McDonald kit.
Embarrassing, man.
That one with that cream one. I cannot wait for that.
The away kit is beautiful, but the third kit looks like Ronald McDonald.
When that drops, I may
have you seen it, Callum? Have you seen the yellow kit? The yellow kit.
Look, I don't like the checkers on the collar, but the rest of it I like.
Yeah, but like the lead one was so sexy. The original one was the grey and red and the pinstripe. It looked beautiful.
Some of the concept kits are better, but I think that's the same story every year, isn't it?
I'm just telling you, the away kit looks absolutely stunning.
Copa should just start that, just doing concept kits, and then genuinely, mate, folk would honestly do that, mate. Do a concept kit.
Nike should get some of these concept guys to do kits for them. They can stop copying other people's kits.
That's all about contracts and who you know, and make it boring. So then, not boring, but not too expensive because they want a safe bet because they know people are going to buy it. That's why New Balance were underrated. I always liked New Balance. I always thought they tried to push it. But no, big up Demo, great stream, guys. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate that. Jersey, Cal, amazing. Just the last few comments. I love the yellow kit. What do you guys think of Malin? And sucker for a kit with a collar. Right, Malin, quickly before he's have to go. What do you think of Malin? You think that will happen?
I don't know. It'll be interesting because he's represented by Raiola as well. So if we deal with him, then
can I get a break from Raiola?
No, but do you know what will be interesting? Because everyone keeps on turning around and saying, right, we're not going to deal with we're not going to try and go for Haaland because he's with Raiola. If we go and try and do business with for Gravenberch or Marlon, I don't want to hear that excuse be used for Haaland.
Yeah, and I agree, mate, because Raiola seems to be just getting more and more of the young talent as well. I like Malin, and I feel like that's something that, to me, that's a Liverpool Moneyball signing. Get him, and I do like him, though, Cal. Like, I do think he's one that could do things, but for me, I think a Silva is what I'm looking at. But apparently, Arsenal in for him now. Arsenal, I'm not saying they're going to have a great season, but they look to be doing some business. Ben White looks like it's about to be completed. The fact that Ben White's only 10 million cheaper than Diaz should highlight to everybody the issue with English tax. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Mate, Diaz 70, not.
Diaz
63.
63. But I mean, it was a risk for Diaz. Rams, Lewandowski, mate. It's not happening, right? I'd love it, but it's not happening. The only chance is Klopp gives him a phone call when he's sitting with Mario Götze at the tennis, and he's like, "Let's get the band back together." That might happen. I could see Götze just turning up to Melwood one day. I feel like they've got that relationship. That one, I've always liked Götze, but he's kind of went off the boil a bit. But I would never mind getting him in. I don't know if he's under contract for a long now, but that might be interesting. But
Louis, can't you see? Sometimes your goals just hypnotize me.
mate, that's that. Listen, Cal can do a chant, but I can't do the I Can Boogie one. It's I'll do it. I'll do it another time, but it's very good. No, it's great. So listen, thanks again, Cal. Jersey, amazing, and thank you for all the comments. You've been absolutely super. I think for forgetting about that, smash like and subscribe. But generally, community, love it, folks. Any other ideas for videos, just put in the comments after the video. But the chat was amazing for that. Really appreciate that. So Thanks very much, folks, and we'll catch you soon. We'll get something out hopefully next week. And great. I'll wait till Jersey comes back because I don't know where he's disappeared to. He's here, right? We'll say bye to everybody, right? Take care. Right?
Goodbye, everyone.
Right. All right, okay. Right, cheers, folks. Right, see you later. Take care.